This conference will now be recorded.
You need that?
Okay, I call the meeting of the Historic Preservation Board of Arkansas City, August 16th, 2021. Call it to order. Josh, you want to call the roll?
Sure. Kevin Cox,
Present.
Phosphor,
Here.
Charles Jennings,
Here.
Kaylee Lawson, and George Lozano. That still represents a quorum.
Okay. All right, the consent agenda. Have a motion on the minutes of the last meeting.
I reviewed the minutes and I will motion that we accept it as granted.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. Anything to say, Josh?
On the administrative reviews,
Yes, please.
basically that is for an interior remodel, and it's actually for the same project that the sign is for. So they're going to remodel that business. In fact, it's already underway. It'd be a nice, good use within that building. Gets us another business in the Summit Block building, so that's a very good thing. So we did go back and forth a little bit on some of the items, but with the architect and whatnot. But we didn't end up with any issues. Mostly just a few questions I had for him. Yeah, everything looks good on the interior remodel.
Okay, any discussion or questions on the board?
No.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll move that we accept that sign as presented.
Harris,
Second.
Charles seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries.
All right. You ready for the sign?
I thought we just did the sign.
Oh, I think we did the interior.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't even talked about the sign yet.
So we will amend the motion to approve the interior remodel.
Yeah. I make a motion that we do that, yes.
Second on
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Second. Yes.
that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries.
Y'all were trying to make this a really quick meeting.
Well, it's a good project, I think. What about, you want to say something about the sign, Josh?
Yes, I will talk briefly about the sign. It is at 316 South Summit. So I guess I didn't really say that the interior remodel was also at 316 South Summit, but that's where it was. And it is, of course, in the Summit Block building. The proposed project is for a box sign that is internally lit, and it will be mounted on the signboard that's on the front of that building. In the picture that Andrew has up there, it's that sign. It's the vacuum store.
Right.
So that has what I'm trying to show by that picture is that there is a signboard. According to the standards and guidelines, using new illuminated signs, inappropriately scaled signs and logos, signs that project over the sidewalk unless they are a characteristic feature of the historic building, or other types of signs that obscure, damage, or destroy remaining character-defining features of the historic building is not recommended. I might get invaded here by a cat in a second. So this sign does appear to be appropriately scaled, and it's appropriately placed. It's going to be put on that signboard. However, the proposed sign is an internally lit box sign, and in the past we have not approved those, not recommended those. The alternative that I came up with was to just remove the lighting component and leave the rest of the box the same way. Under that, it could be approved per the standards, or the other alternative would be to light it externally, and that the applicant wasn't interested in that particular option. So it's either a matter of approving it with the lights, or which doesn't quite meet the standards, or asking them to consider not doing it with the lights to fully meet the standards. And that would be my recommendation.
Any
I guess
discussion
you
on
could
this?
just prove it too, but don't do that.
I don't think there's any discussion on that. Everything looks good on that.
Well, wait a minute. Do we want to approve the lighting, or
Well,
that's usually not done, Josh? Is what,
yeah. Based on the, I think it's in your copy there.
Yeah.
That was the standards for that. Why they don't want it to be lit internally. I don't necessarily agree with that, because 50 years ago, box signs were lit, so I'm not sure why, but according to the
Can you
standards.
explain that, Josh? What about, I'm thinking about when Bryant Hardware, when the next people,
Right.
wasn't that a lit sign?
That was denied, and it was appealed before the city commission. And I think ultimately it didn't even matter, because I think they ended up taking the lit part out. But yes, it originally was denied, not by the board. It was denied by the SHPO. That was before we were doing reviews.
Okay.
Yes. Wow. Well, can I ask, how late is the restaurant going to be open?
How late the restaurant is open?
Yes.
Well, we probably think about the open in August.
Yes.
No, sorry, October, sorry. We probably think about the open in October,
Okay.
but we need to see how the construction goes.
Sure.
What about the hours of operation?
Hour of operation property is 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Well, I mean, Josh, if they're open in the evening when it's dark, the time you live during it while it's open, or what do you all think about that?
For the sign thing,
Yeah.
Yes.
如果夏天的话，到了这是冬天的话，可能3到4个小时，一定得早点天黑。
So did you ask about like when the evening come, our light doesn't,
Yeah.
our side doesn't have a light, is what you asked?
Yeah, well, as is proposed by the city, it would not be lit. But what we're talking about is, would you prefer that it be lit? Have the lights on inside the box sign, so it would light up at night inside. The state proposals on historic buildings say that shouldn't be done. That's why Josh has recommended that the lighting be taken out of the sign and the sign just mounted up there.
Yeah.
But what
Now, I will
Josh
have to say we have set a little bit of a precedent.
Yeah.
If you remember the Gordman sign,
Right.
I think that we allowed that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because my feeling is, I know what the standards are, but 50 years meets standards for historic. And, 50 years ago, box signs were lit. I mean, But I don't know. I hate to go against Josh's recommendation though, but
I'm just going by what the standards say.
that is
You
what
won't
they
break
say,
my heart.
right?
Well,
Charles, do you have
I
any?
think we have a number of them in the district, to be completely honest with you.
Yes, we do.
It's not necessarily going to look out of place if
Right,
there's one there.
exactly.
well,
Charles, do you have an opinion on that?
I guess I just want to make sure that we don't deviate to the point that we compromise the district as a whole
Right.
going forward. So if that's not a concern, then I'm okay.
Well, being as this is lighted internally, because you know, sometimes we can get into flashing lights and all kinds of things, which would
yeah,
definitely would not be, you know, what we'd want in the historic district. But this is being a small sign mounted against the building. I can't see that it's a problem. So I'll leave that up to the rest of the board on that.
well, I tend to agree with you, Kevin. So,
So do we have a motion to accept the sign as lit?
Well, we do have a motion.
We don't have a motion. That's what I'm sorry. That's Fosh. You should.
yeah, I'll ask it.
I did it for so long. It's a hard habit to get out.
I'm the president, so.
Okay, well, that's okay. What I was trying to get at is, do we feel like, if our language in the discussion here is that we have precedent from a previous action and we take this action, does someone, I mean, that's where I'm at is, do we get to the point where somebody or the next one wants just a little bit more latitude, and then the next one, and pretty soon we're way away from what our intent was for the district.
Right. Yeah. The way I look at it, you know, Shippo said that the bright LED lights on the Burford are acceptable.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
The Burford's open in the evening.
Yeah.
We don't have
To
right
me,
now.
If
you know,
anything should have been denied, that should have been denied. Because it certainly wasn't historic. I know, I'm not bad mouthing the Burford.
No, they're pretty lax. They're pretty
Okay.
lax when it comes to marquees.
Mhm.
That's what
Yes,
that's
they
about.
are. When it comes to a
I don't know if I
marquee.
necessarily agree with them on the LED.
Yeah, but that marquee was always lit though, even the old.
Yeah, but it was not lit like that.
It was not a LED.
Not an LED.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. I just don't want us to be in a place where every future decision
Right.
is
I
kind of
understand.
predicated on, well, we have precedent.
Yeah.
I think if somebody goes too far, we're not bound to say. So I'd rather our decision be based on the fact that that it's within the tolerances, rather than saying we have precedent, because we don't want that the next person to say, well, you made a provision here. We have the right to, regardless of a decision made today or in the previous matter, we have the right to act, to revert to a more conservative perspective is what I'm trying to get at.
I understand. I
Okay.
agree with
I
that.
would agree with that.
But,
Okay.
but do we have a motion to approve the sign and the lit the way they propose?
And be lit, because as it's proposed in there, it's not lit. What we're wanting to do is
Always.
it's Josh wrote it up as the state standards require,
Okay.
which is that they can't light a box sign. But what we're talking about is allowing to light the box sign.
Okay.
Just make sure you word it however you
Is
want
that
it.
what you're moving?
Yeah, I motion that we accept the sign and allow it to be lit internally.
Do I hear a
That's my motion.
second for that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
So the motion is passed. It's approved.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also you can light it internally if you choose to do so.
We can put on light internally.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, anything else?
Are we done?
You're
You
done.
just have to come get a permit for it.
Okay, we're happy. You can see that everybody need to see the sign.
Right.
Right. Understand.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, for today.
Good evening.
We do other, we can go to people come or
Put on the,
it's
sign
okay.
on the,
Yeah.
on the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're cleared now.
Yeah, good.
Isn't that right, Andrew? They're cleared now to hang.
Still need to get a permit still.
Well, you still have to get a permit, I guess, from what Josh said.
We know.
But yeah, other than that, you're cleared through this board, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we will contact a company who can have a license on the.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew, does this go to the city for their approval next, or what happens?
No,
Josh?
no, your approval is the final approval for it,
Okay,
unless somebody wanted to appeal it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Before, yeah, that's 3 years ago, just is a give me phone number company, we find it.
He provide us a lot of the company
Company, yeah.
license to put on the sign, so we will contact it and then do this, put the sign on the top.
Okay.
We will do
Sounds
that.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you for coming.
I agree with you. It's not like it's a neon sign that flashes out and they're going to be open at night. So we don't have anything open at night, which is sad.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good for the district. I really do.
Yes, definitely.
I agree.
And that sign, what my concern was, I know they have streetlights down there, but that sign wasn't lit. I think a lot of people might think they're closed.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. What else do we have on the agenda here?
Andrew, you sent something out earlier. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, just a second. I'm trying to pull that up. I'll be quick. I gotta get up to it.
You have to approve cryptocurrency for the city now?
No,
Oh,
there's international time capsule standards. I found out about this last time. It's-
Good. It's important.
Actually, a society. They have best practices on how to do these, and you can even register it with them, which I thought would be helpful because, in 50 years, none of us might be around, and at least there'd be some entity with some information on it. So I just want to let you know, I sent you guys a link. You're welcome to read through and learn more about it, but I thought that we would go ahead and look into some of that as we're getting prepared for Halala, and maybe go ahead and register once it's done. I'm getting the strong sense that it's probably going to fall on my shoulders to pull together the time capsule since Pam is leaving us to go to the hospital. I don't have a high degree of confidence on a new person coming in and taking that project on that she had. So I kind of saw that coming. So I'm going to just start getting a little more proactive about it. We'll do some Facebook posting and some other things to gin up interest, but really we won't kick it off until probably September. Give people some time to breathe after July. And then in September, we'll start promoting it and see if we can get people to bring stuff when they come for car show. And then again in October for Argaloa. And right now we're thinking of doing the dedication on Argaloa Thursday, since there's no other events that day. That way we're not running into the kiddie parade and everything. That's tentative. I just kind of talked to Tosh about it a little bit. So the existing time capsule items are at the chamber. Supposedly they were going to get the new items collected and put in the other window at the chamber. I don't think that's been happening. So I'm going to start trying to see if I can't get that moving, but I don't know how much people have actually
I
brought
mean,
in. So,
potential items for the,
yeah, so I think we kind of need to identify sort of a wish list of what we definitely want in there. I already have quite a few things, including the 150th special. We'll certainly include that and some other things too. So just be thinking about that for the next month or so, and probably, I don't know if we'll have a September meeting or not, but come October, we'll probably get together and plan how we're going to do that burial ceremony and all that. Other things that we'll put in there will be the downtown tour brochure. I wanted to encourage you to take one last look through that and make sure there are no errors or omissions. We did find one error on a date. I don't remember which building. Kaylee would know, but she's not here. So we fixed it in a final proof, and I want to make sure we make any other changes. But Josh, I think we need to get that off to Kester probably by next week at the latest, right?
Yes, because basically it has to have an invoice and really probably been paid before the 31st.
Yeah. So I
I
would
have to
say
submit the grant.
if there need to be changes, we need to know about them probably by the end of this week.
Yes.
Or like next Monday at the absolute latest, so we can walk through and get them printed. Because we're wanting to run, what, 2,000 copies? Is that what we budgeted for?
Yeah, I think we can afford 2,000 without a problem.
Yeah, maybe even 3,000. We'll just see what it costs. But, this will be the final run, so I just want to make sure if there's any other funky looking things in there, that you guys catch them. So please flip through it when you get a chance and just make sure. I haven't heard of anything from anyone else. I assume people have been reading through them. So that's a good sign, but there was the one, so I just want to be sure. And then once those are done, printed in order, probably again, getting to be early September. One of my last acts working with Pam will be to get her to get a group together, probably some Cali students or basic volunteers, and get those distributed. So we want to get those out at the hotels, the restaurants, anywhere that's got like a kiosk. If you see any of those, holler at me, so I make sure I get them on the list. I've pulled old ones, a couple locations already, but I don't know. There's probably still some more out there, which is fine. But we'll kind of get, and then there'll still be, 1,000 plus left over that will probably just sit in the chamber for the rest of the time. That's fine. That was our purpose and all this stuff. That's kind of the update there. Just want to remind you guys, we are kind of at the deadline to get that project finalized. And then hopefully we can take a breath and figure out what we're doing next. Did you want to talk to them about the historic chapter as far as the comp plan, or are we not working with that yet?
We do need to talk about it, but I probably can wait for another meeting.
That's fine. And Josh is remoting with us because he's actually in Hutchinson right now. He's at the upstairs downtown conference. So they're actually learning today and tomorrow about
that's
the
great.
expansion of the Rural Housing Incentive District and how can we use that to get the downtown revitalized upstairs.
That'd be great.
So hopefully they come back with a lot of good information. So I think that's definitely something we're going to look at, adjusting whatever goals were in the plan regarding the historic district to refer on to the planning commission, because the planning commission really wants to work that in to the next plan, and the city commission as well. So he's up there for Mike Billis and Randy Frazier. Paisley's up there, as is Carrie Folletti. So good representation from the city.
Yes.
That's about
Yeah,
it.
we've got a large group.
Say again?
I said we've got a large group up here.
That's great. You guys having a good time up there too?
Yeah, it's been very informative. We've learned a lot just today, and tomorrow we're still going to hear a little bit more. In fact, one of our panel discussions tomorrow is Katrina Ringler. So our SHPO contact will actually be here. And so we're going to hear from her, and we'll of course hear from the RHAD. But today we heard a lot about from some developers that have been doing this kind of work, and not necessarily in Kansas, but they've been doing it around the country successfully. And even in a few cases where they chose not to go the route of following the standards, and they chose not to take credits. But for the most part, the stuff they were talking about was talking about getting some housing and some underused businesses. Even people that are not preservationists understand the importance of getting stuff in these buildings because of the economic factor for that reason. Some of the buildings are not getting, especially in some towns, even the lower floors aren't getting used either. And so the building is just sitting there vacant. And from an economic perspective alone, that's not good for a city. So we'll tackle it from the side of preservation as well, because that's an important thing, and I think we need to move forward. And I think we should attempt to do it, if for no other reason, to honor the memory of a former Preservation Board member, Gene Snell. That was one of his
Absolutely.
big things.
Yeah, it
He really
was.
wanted to be over. So.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Any more discussion on that? Or?
Nope. I could share more when I get back.
Okay. Okay, do we have anything else to discuss?
Not for me.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn.
Second?
Second that motion, sir.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I guess this meeting is now adjourned.